Oh my God, you guys, come in, sit down, and shut the door. We need to talk about what's going on between Diddy and Trump. And we need to talk about the way there seems to be a direct line between Maureen Comey's firing, yes, just saying Maxwell, but also Trump's plans to pardon Diddy. And they are saying that Maureen Comey's biggest fear that she talked about when she was unceremoniously fired, that for decades we have worked without fear or favor, fear of repercussions, and also favor, that we must start bending a knee to too powerful men, to money. Well, in the Department of Justice and the hallmark of American justice, the Southern District of New York, it looks like a new era has been ushered in. And if you believe these reports from the New York Times, the New York Post, Deadline, and also Tisa Towers, because if you've been watching this channel, you know last year I was the first person to report that Diddy was seeking a presidential pardon. You can look at the dates and the timestamps. Literally 6 months before my sources said that that was what they were pursuing, they called me a liar. They said I was making it up. They said I was doing it for clicks and views. But now the Deadline, New York Times, New York Post, and every single media publication has finally caught up with what my sources told us 6 months before this news was even thought of. Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay, fine. That enough of my commercial, but I told you so. But hit that subscribe button because I do be getting exclusive. I also have an exclusive of what's going on with the just saying Maxwell case, but we got to talk about that in a different video. Anyway, back to what I was saying. It looks like there is a new era upon us where things will be decided with fear in mind, and if not fear, with favor. I know you guys heard the news that Trump is seriously considering pardoning Diddy, but more details have come out. And it seems like, if you can believe these details coming out from reputable mainstream legacy media, okay, there is an added layer. They are saying that Judge Aaron, if he gives Diddy bail, then Trump is looking to pardon Diddy after sentencing. However, if Judge Aaron decides to deny Diddy bail, they are saying that Trump is seriously considering pardoning him almost immediately so that he never gets to sentencing. Now, here's what I want to say. With Trump, first of all, you never know what he's really going to do until the signature is on the paper, okay? Everything can change in the blink of an eye. But let's go back to what Maureen Comey was talking about, without fear or without favor. To actually hear, okay? To actually hear that, even if it's floating around in the media, that a judge who is looking at keeping a violent, twice convicted sex crime felon, because apparently in the new America, being a PDF file, being convicted of sex trials, beating people to a pulp, being an all-around dirtbag, apparently now, if it's a new age, if you have enough money and enough political power, you can get out of everything. And no, I'm not just talking about Sean Combs, but today in this video, we are focusing on his crimes against humanity, both moral and federal. Imagine being that federal judge. You have a decision to make. You have already denied him bail every other time. And last time you handed him his ASS. Diddy's people were then firing up jets, planning 4th of July barbecues. They just knew that mofo was getting out. Okay? The lead prosecutor that wanted you under the jail was fired unceremoniously. I know you're saying just say Maxwell, but I think it also has something to do with Diddy. She was the heart and soul of the Diddy team. And now that everybody is believing what we told y'all 9 months ago, okay? What we said 9 months ago has now come to fruition. As a matter of fact, everything we said about what's going to happen on Diddy's case has come to fruition in that order. Now all of a sudden we really have to look. Was it a coincidence the way she was fired? Was it a coincidence why it was fired? When she said we cannot let this instill fear in our hearts. We must push forward. I thought she was talking to the prosecutors, but perhaps she was talking to the judges. Perhaps she was talking to Judge Aaron directly. It is no small thing to hear through major media outlets that a president of the United States is seriously considering pardoning someone you are denying bail. And if you give him bail, he will pardon him with sentencing, after sentencing, which sends the signal that you better go light on sentencing, because do you want to be on the bad side of the president of the United States? And it also sends a signal that if you deny him bail, he's going to get pardoned earlier. That is making somebody move with fear and with favor. I don't care what you say. I don't care what side you are on. And by the way, what happened to everybody in the sides they were on? What happened to everybody demanding, oh, we're going to put all the PDF files away. We're going to make everybody pay. Now because what? You voted for somebody? Because you see somebody yourself in that person? What's going on? Then now all of a sudden public outcry is like, well, you know, if they think it's best. Again, is this not what Maureen Comey was warning about? Am I the only one seeing a clear line? Maybe. That we can speak truth to power and saying none of this makes sense. The jury's decision did not make sense. The way that they were deadlocked and they were like, we cannot come to the agreement. And they sent them home and they came back first thing in the morning and didn't even drop their book bag off and said, never mind, he's not guilty. The way the charges didn't make sense. The way they didn't even believe about the distribution and the violence when they had him on video by his own attempt, dragging her back to a freak off that she wanted to leave. And now he is demanding bail again in the middle of this, just saying, Maxwell, we need to start talking about things. Diddy did, in my opinion, style himself as the Black Jeffrey Epstein, throwing parties, right? Being a little matchmaker, okay? But he could do it better than Jeffrey because he knew where the fun was. He knew how to get people in. He would have you chilling next to your favorite rapper. And that girl you liked or that guy you liked, don't worry. According to Mark Curry, we'll let them sip from the special champagne bottle. You know, Diddy has moved around without accountability. And even the closing that Mark Agnifilio did, as much as he said it was the best closing of his career, and it was, if you're into like dirtbag misogynistic stuff, I guess congratulations, you did your job. You made yourself invaluable to criminals. But let me get back to this. Even if you don't believe that Diddy was the Black Jeffrey Epstein, because what they did was different ways, right? At the end of the day, there is a clear arrow being drawn. There is something clear. There is something present. And there is danger out there. And we are the ones that are watching it unfold in real time. Remember when I said that Diddy and his band of dirtbags were harassing bloggers, threatening violence, trying to intimidate people? Because why? Because they wanted the streets quiet so they could pave the way for a presidential pardon. By saying he's repentant, they're setting up a storyline so they can shove it down our throats. But who is buying this? You guys, this new layer adds something. That if he doesn't get bail, he'll be pardoned quicker. And if he does get bail, he'll be pardoned after he's sentencing. This is directly, if it's true, putting your hands with the Department of Justice, putting their hands on the scale. And they are no longer operating without fear or without favor. You guys, please let me know what you think in the comments. This story is developing. I do want to say I was the very first to report this story 9 months ago. Look at God's glory. Y'all said I was a liar. Y'all said. Not y'all, but the dummies in the back. Right? You said. And now look, unfortunately, I wish to God I was wrong. See, I knew he was going to try to get a pardon. But like I said 9 months ago, who would have thought that the president of the United States is going with his sources saying that he's seriously thinking about it. And the last thing I am going to say about this, because I think a lot of people are a little bit confused, I think that we're hearing about this now because they're trying to get the public used to the idea. And they want to see how much outrage this is and water it down and get the public used to the idea. So by the time that he is released, nobody's really going to care. They're going to say, there's just a distraction. We have bigger things to do. Oh my God, he donated to a charity. Don't you know he loves the kids? Yeah, a little bit too much. Don't you know he loves the women? Please, that's probably his next dating app. He's going to go in-house. Listen, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Let me get out of here. The story's developing. Also, I'm making a video about what's going on with Ghislaine Maxwell, and baby, it is juicy. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.